Yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience, the FCS college football experience, week 6 preview picks and reaction show. And we had some big time outcomes this past weekend. That was kind of all over the board. Some great plays, some fucking horrible plays, some just surprising outcomes as you know, each game. I mean, college football is the best. I mean, I was in Tempe, Arizona. I know Daniel Smith's in the chat. He was at the Cal game. You should have stormed the field. I agree. And I had to do my due diligence a little bit this morning, putting some games on. I knew coming into the college football season that week 6 was going to be the most challenging week as far as me getting eyeballs on games, because I knew I was going to be flying to Tempe. I knew I was going to be doing like a meet and greet there. So, anyway, youtube.com/the college experience. Get on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. Hope the season has been good for USC. Ben Ellison in there with Eastern Illinois dropping to 1-5. Do you think their FCS playoff chances are done? Most likely. I would say there's still maybe a fraction of hope there, because if they win their conference, but that would be the one thing that I don't think they're going to get there this year. I think we can solidify that. So, this was just a wonderful, wonderful weekend of college football action. Obviously, picked a hell of a weekend to miss with the way, whether it was Diego pissing Pavia in the FBS or whether it was the Weber State Wildcats winning in Missoula. The games delivered like they always deliver, and the sport is still fantastic despite all their attempts to blow it up with these bullshit targeting penalties and all this other nonsense conference realignment. Let's just jump right into it though. But before I do that, I want to let you know, folks, that my name is Colby Swigga, Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Nobody knows nothing. Somebody knows. Double the price, but no one touches Dundee.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, there were some great games. There were some great games this weekend. And it started, honestly, on Friday night when you had New Hampshire taking on Harvard. And honestly, I think hopefully you tailed me on the Harvard play here, but out at the beginning of the game, it looked like New Hampshire was potentially going to walk away with this thing. As I felt like they kind of won the first quarter for certain, but the Crimson, like good teams do at home, they battle all the way back. And to me, the big story was what Harvard could do on the ground. They had 144 rushing yards to New Hampshire's just 46. And that to me was pretty much the difference in the game. Obviously they won the turnover battle too, 1-0. So playing, conservative football to a certain extent, but getting it done there. Seth Morgan, the former VMI transfer at the quarterback spot for New Hampshire, I thought he had a decent game, but it was really that they just couldn't establish the run. So that was the difference to me with Harvard getting the dub there, led by Xavier Beacon, or is it Baskin? One of the two at the running back spot. That was to me a lot of the difference in the game. Obviously the turnover too. Harvard cash for us out the gate. We're sitting on a fire weekend, by the way. Now I know this doesn't mean anything for Harvard's, they don't Ivy doesn't play in the FCS playoffs, so yeah, it's a non-con game, so there's not as much strength to it as what it could be. Hey, Ivy League, why don't you stop being a bunch of pussies and play in the FCS playoffs instead of that game in Japan every year? Anyway, folks, got to get to the Saturday action on the FCS front. But before I do that, I want to let you people know, maybe you caught the Western Carolina Catamounts this past weekend when they were playing in front of an empty crowd. The reason why they were playing in front of an empty crowd is because the Appalachians have been absolutely kind of destroyed. Hurricane Helene was devastating. It just came through there. And the good people of Western North Carolina, well, they need our help, folks. They really do. Their houses have been destroyed. And I don't think their insurance will probably cover them. Knowing insurance companies and knowing how rare this is up there too, I'm going to go ahead and say they're not going to cover them. Jobs gone, friends, family, pets, all have, perhaps gone as well in certain situations. We got to do this. We got to help out, man. The minute we found out about this thing, we reached out and we were trying to seek a place, a charity where we knew the money would actually go to the people. Cause that's half the battle. You find out a couple years later that only 10% of your money went there. Some CEO in New York City's having lunch, on your dime. No. So we did our due diligence, and SGPN's teaming up with a local charity there, mountainprojects.org, to help give back. And get this, the biggest donation will get a guest spot on the College Football Pick Show and a ton of SGPN gear. Go to mountainprojects.org, hit that flood support to help out today. And look, folks, even if you don't have that much money, I understand you wouldn't get the biggest donation. You're not going to appear on the pick show. But how many people have invited me for a beer or said, you're ever in wherever, Wichita, I'm buying you a beer, Dundee. Well, this is your opportunity to buy me that beer. And then when we meet up, I'll buy you that beer. All right. Because please, if you can, just help out. These are our people. We got to help them out. You'd want the same thing if the roles were reversed wherever you're located. So if you can, please hop on over there, mountainprojects.org, hit flood support, and please help out today, even if it's just a couple dollars. All right. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. Yes. So we hit on Harvard early in the day, and then, hey, how about this one? I cashed in on these Bryant Bulldogs getting the outright win. We knew, especially the way Brown had won the game before. You just knew, it's a great letdown spot. It's kind of like taking Kentucky this week against Vanderbilt. You just knew Brown pulled a win out their ass, and Bryant, from a roster standpoint, had some talent. So you're just like, I don't know why Bryant is sputtering. Well, they seem to be fixing everything and or fixing their team to a certain extent. They win 42-35 in a little Rhode Island battle right there. Once again, this is one that I advised to play on the money line just because I just didn't think Brown had looked that good. They pulled this some wins out their ass, and the Bryant Bulldogs step up. They needed that. The season was not looking great prior to that. Shout out to the Bulldogs and Jared Guest and company getting that dub there. I also locked up this one, Central Connecticut State, which my only problem is I sprinkled the money line. It did not hit on the money line as they lost 23-22. Yale was out early, but we had quite the game in the Battle of Connecticut there at the Yale Bowl, one of the best stadiums in college football. This was a game I feel like you're probably kicking yourself if you are, Central Connecticut State, because they were the much better team, like from the yardage standpoint. But turnovers. 3 turnovers for the Blue Devils, 0 for Yale. They, Central Connecticut State basically I think threw for about 150 more yards than Yale. Now Yale did outrush them by about 20, but my point is Central Connecticut State probably should have been in the mix to win that game. Great game. This is college football, regional college football, Battle of Connecticut here, and a 1-point game. This is why you subscribe every week, not to this show, but maybe the show, but I'm saying in general to the sport. Big time win there, and we bet that thing. So shout out to the real Blue Devils getting that cover. Princeton, Columbia. I thought Princeton would get that dub in the old school battle going back to 1874. They were up 7-3 after 1. They were up 10-6 after 2. And I was like, we got this. No, Columbia, the just a great just bounce from whatever they did at halftime, the adjustments They score 28 in the second half. They get it done 34-17 against Princeton. Shout out to those Columbia Lions as they move to 2-1. Caleb Carter is saying you're still doing the week 7 preview. Picture tomorrow. Caleb, we are doing the weekday games tonight. Myself and NC Nick at 5:30 will be on the show here, talking about all of the weekday action, which I believe is like 10 or 11 games. Then tomorrow night we will cover all of the Saturday games. So myself, NC Nick, Patty C tomorrow, but later tonight, myself, NC Nick, breaking down some props that we like and also all of the weekday action. It's a heavy week of college football. But back to the Ivy here. Shout out to Columbia getting that win after, Princeton had kind of won the first half. Moving along, one of the best stories in the FCS this season has been the Butler Bulldogs. They're 5-0 and they moved to 5-0 this week when they put Morehead State down 40-6. 40-6. The Butler Bulldogs are good. And if you haven't had a chance to watch them, I know you'll say, hey, it's just a Pioneer League team, Dundee, but the way they're beating everyone's ass, Reagan Andrew at the quarterback spot, they've thrown 12 touchdowns this season, just 2 interceptions, over 3 different quarterbacks because they've been up so big in some of these games. Nick Howard is his legs, running the ball, as well as Reagan Andrew running the ball, like mixed with the 2 running backs of, I think it's Joey Suki, and Billy Dozier getting in there, getting after it. They've just been whooping ass, and it's been very, very fun to watch. These Bulldogs, they have a huge game this week. And if you look at this Bulldog schedule, you got to think, you get these next 2 or 3 games are so critical. At Drake, home to Dayton, and at Davidson. All 3 have winning records. If they get through those, you got to think you're going to be in cruise control against Stetson, Valpo, St. Thomas, and Presbyterian. So if they can go into Des Moines and take down those Drake Bulldogs this Saturday on ESPN Plus, I think that's a good step for the Butler Bulldogs getting to an FCS playoff spot. So shout out to the Bulldogs. St. Francis, Delaware State. This one I was correct on as well. St. Francis gets it done 28-17 over Delaware State. They were losing at the half 10-6. And I thought it might have been a bad play by Dundee, but no, they came back and took care of business against those Hornets. 28-17 as the Red Flash get the win. Nice win there. Moving forward, Marist, Davidson put it on Marist. Easy play here with the way Marist has been so bad. 42-19. The Wildcats moved to 4-1. In overall, I guess, and this was a conference game too. So, nice win there for the Wildcats. They have a big game this week as well. If you follow Davidson football, they get who are they getting? Because we're getting I think they're getting Dayton, right? So you have the best 2 Pioneer games going on. You get Drake taking on Butler and Davidson taking on Dayton this week. We're gonna learn a little something about the Pioneer League. So shout out to the Wildcats there for getting it done and really just putting it on. 384 yards rushing against Marist there. 384 yards rushing. Nice win there for those Wildcats. Moving along, we had Wagner and Stonehill. Wagner getting it done. I took the points. I didn't bet this. As they won 28-7 at Stonehill, got it done. And nice win there for the Seahawks. This one is one I did get wrong here. Holy Cross 38, Colgate 7. Woo. Thought this would be more of a game. I know Colgate's struggled this year, but so is Holy Cross. But Holy Cross just putting it on their, old school rivals there, the Colgate Raiders, in a big one there, 38-7. Folks, I before we get to the rest of the FCS games, I want to tell you that thanks for tuning into the college football experience, the FCS college football experience. And if you can head over to Spotify or iTunes and give us a 5-star rating, only you can prevent corporate gambling from taking over. So please do your part. Jump on over there and do that. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy, as Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports: NFL, college football, CFL, MLB, MMA, WNBA, NASCAR, and much, much more. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boost. You can now use specials and boost on all flex entries as well. So what are you doing, folks? Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. All right. Shout out. Yeah. The chat said, was Matthew Sluka back on Holy Cross with that ass whooping? Perhaps. No. Just put him in. You wouldn't even notice, dude. You could just switch jersey numbers, throw him in there. Who's paying attention? Moving forward. Albany. Cornell. This was a Dundee lock. Albany gets it done against the Big Red. 31-10. Get right spot for Albany, and well-balanced game. I think they had 273 on the ground, 225 in the air. And the big thing is, they just need to find a way to get a win. Some of the ways they lost the main game, they were up a lot of that game. And Cornell, jumps back to what I kind of thought that not that. I mean, they should be dogs to Albany, in my opinion. But they kind of jump back, and Cornell was a bit of a blunder because remember out the gate they had lost to Colgate, who has looked like shit since. So kind of a mystery team is what Cornell, the Big Red, are this year with Jamison Wang there at the QB spot. So Mercyhurst, they were, after the way Frostburg beat them with those double onside kicks, they put it on Buffalo State, the Bengals, 55-0. No line there. Just worth noting that Mercyhurst got that dub. One of the best games of the day. Delaware, Monmouth. If you get Flow Sports, you can watch this one. I thought 9.5 was too much, and I was correct because Delaware wins 42-35 against Monmouth, but Delaware stays undefeated, stays the pride of the FCS, or one of the better schools in the FCS. It's a shame that they will not be part of the playoffs, because you would think Delaware could be a legit contender to knock off perhaps the traditional Dakotas or Montana schools. Hasty in the chat saying he ate shit with Monmouth money line. I mean, you were right there though. If you watch this game, Monmouth had the lead. No, I think it was tied at halftime. But it was there. It was neck and neck, back and forth, and Delaware just made a couple more plays to get it done there. Lincoln, the Lions, they got shut out as well, much like Buffalo State. They lost 41-0 to Morgan State there. Tough defeat for that Lincoln Lion team. We had no line on that, but this is one I did eat shit with. I laid it with Lafayette. They only won by 5. So, but they needed that win, and Fordham, is now 0-6. What the hell is happening at Fordham? But I thought Lafayette would cruise to a big win there. Not the case, as they only win by 5, 28-23 against those Rams. My fucking Long Island Shucks. They finally eat shit for me. They lose by 26 to Duquesne. And I think we might be needing to have a conversation about the Duquesne Dukes potentially being an FCS playoff team. I'm starting to buy it that they are going to be the team to beat in the NEC. Starting to buy it. They're 3-2, but their 2 losses are Toledo and Boston College. They win at Youngstown. They took care of West Virginia Wesleyan, and now a strong performance against a Long Island team that, frankly, I thought was pretty decent. So shout out to the bet detectives, Duquesne Dukes there, as I pissed away some money on the Long Island Sharks. I also pissed away some money on the Penn Quakers, as Dartmouth honoring the great Buddy Tevens. May he rest easy. You always got to watch that tragic magic stuff, because Fucking Dartmouth gets the win. They're 3-0. And this is one. Penn had a halftime lead. I felt okay about it. I kind of felt okay about really, I just thought they're better than Dartmouth, but tragic magic pays off. Dartmouth was prepared. They were the better team on this day, better offensively, better running the ball, better passing the ball. If anything, Penn only passed for 123 yards. So the fucking Dartmouth defense kept that offense locked down there at Memorial Field there, and they get the win and honor the great Buddy Tevens. May he rest easy. It's Buddy Tevens Field now, as it should be. Moving forward, Norfolk State, fucking Sacred Heart gets the win 10-3. I stayed away from this one, but Sacred Heart, nice win there, and move forward, and they grabbed a couple wins now. It's fucking Sacred Heart did. They're showing some signs of heart, and if you go back, with the exception of that Delaware game, I remember the Georgetown game and the St. Anselm game, which they almost lost, but a nice win for fucking Sacred Heart. Norfolk State seems to be a mess lately. I don't understand what happened early in the year. I was buying into the way it just seems like they're all over the place. Austin Free saying fading LIU is free. That's the first time besides the FBS game against TCU. I think that was the first time Long Island didn't cover. Maybe you're referring to Moneyline. Yeah, I was about to say they're 4-1 ATS. Long Island is. What are you talking about, Austin? Drake Valpo, spot on with this one as Drake wins 27-3. Valpo might be the worst team in the FCS. The Crusaders, a beacon of shit this season as Drake, and this sets up that Drake game, that Drake Butler game that I'm talking about. Can't wait to watch it. Moving forward, we had UT Martin, the Skyhawks, the fucking Skyhawks here.
I want this pilot. It's a matter of national security.
You can want the pilot all you want, but can you beat the pilot? Because Gardner Webb gets housed by UT Martin 35-17. UT Martin, a solid team there. They could be a team that we could see in the playoffs. Moving along, Indiana State, Youngstown State. This is one I felt pretty decent that Youngstown was going to destroy them. They certainly did not cover, but they did win 21-14 against these Sycamores. They needed that with the type of season Youngstown's having, a prestigious, very prestigious program over the years, having their struggles this year. Nice to get a dub. Tennessee State, Lindenwood, Eddie George and Tennessee State. This I did not see coming. And you got to start to wonder here. Eddie George is 4-2 now at Tennessee State this season. This could be kind of his breakthrough season. I feel like, yeah, they got Eastern Illinois on deck coming to Nashville. The schedule does get a little tougher. You're at Howard after that, and then home to UT Martin. But then after that, you get Western Illinois and Gardner Webb, which I think they'll take care of. And then you host SEMO and a chance to potentially get it done there. Yeah. I mean, that was, I thought Lindenwood would win this game. I thought they looked like the better team thus far. Big win, nice upset win there for Eddie George and Tennessee State. This was one of the more shocking games here. Richmond almost got bit. This was a 10-10 game at half. And hey, A&T, as bad as they've looked this year, they came to play against Richmond, only lost by 3, covered the big number by a mile. And despite them being 1-5, they're fighting for Vincent Brown. And that's something I think I taken note of here. Richmond stays hot. They've won a bunch in a row here, but they just didn't look great. Austin Free saying he thought Richmond would lose after the first half. Yeah, me and you both. But they found a way to get it done. And shout out to the Spiders. Furman and the Citadel giving us a dandy of a game. Your heart breaks for the Citadel that blew a 10-0 lead at the half and loses by 1 to Furman 17-16 in an in-state battle there. And I think you look at this, The Citadel held Furman to just 28 yards on the ground. How did you lose this game? All right. Yeah, 243 yards in the air. That's probably the difference right there. And the big one there is the Citadel turned the ball over, whereas Furman, really didn't in the air as far as interceptions go. Furman needed that win. 17-16. Nice win there for the Paladins in an old school SoCon rivalry. Rhode Island and Hampton. Holy shit. I lost a bunch of money on this game. Hampton's one of the better stories, and it sucks they lost this game because they lose in overtime 46-44. Remember, Hampton had a coaching change like midway through the offseason, but they've bought in, and Rhode Island almost paid the ultimate price here. But they find a way to get it done in overtime. And Hampton is they might be turning a corner here, the Hampton Pirates. So keep an eye on them moving forward. Austin P. West Georgia. I was all over West Georgia and the points here. It covered. They almost won the game outright. They lost 20-16. The Governors get that much needed win that they needed. But the Wolves of West Georgia got the cover. Next up, we're going to shocker here to me was not in this one, but St. Thomas took down Stetson 34-24. The Tommies needed to get back on the winning side of things as they move to 2-3 now. Nice win for the Tommies. Wofford, Western Carolina. I mentioned this in the ad read. No fans. We didn't know what to do with betting this game, but shout out to the Cats. Catamounts there. They got it done. 21-17 against Wofford. Big win there. And they needed that after not only what has happened in the community, but just playing such a challenging non-con schedule. We knew they were better than their record, and beating a team that was ranked a week ago, always big. So shout out to the Cats of Western Carolina. I was shocked by this one because I did bet Tennessee Tech here. South Carolina State goes on the road to Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech had been impressive thus far this season. But South Carolina State gets it done. Life at their Buddy Pugh once again, continuing to look good for these Bulldogs with the 2-point win on the road in Tennessee. So shout out to South Carolina State. Just a really, really good performance there. Sorry to GBO Farms, who's a Tennessee Tech fan. And it was a bad day for him because he's a Vol fan too, a Tennessee Volunteer fan, Tennessee Tech fan. Tough days there. Lynchburg, they put up a better fight against Texas Southern than some of the other FCS schools that they've faced. They lose 28-10. Chris Dishman and Southern gets a nice win there. Maybe the game of the day. Weber State. I didn't bet this, but I took Weber in the points. Weber gets it done 55-48 in overtime. This was a very fun game, but we should have a conversation here because first off, I think it's the biggest win for Weber State. Mickey Mental, their second year head coach. This is his biggest win of his career here, I think. So scoring that win, can you build on that? And winning in Missoula is always tough. But then you look at like the race that we're looking at here in the Big Sky, because this was a conference game, and it makes you worry a little bit about Montana because now they drop down to now some of this they're gonna have to play each other, so we'll see. But with the way Montana looked, I don't know. They're on the I'm on the fence with the Grizz this year. Montana State's in first place. UC Davis and Weber also in first place, tied with them. And after that, you got the Vandals, Idaho State, Montana, Northern Arizona, Cal Poly, all at 1-1. And I fully expect Sac State and EW to get back in that mix some. It's just a huge win for Weber State. You look at their schedule too, moving forward. You say, well, 2-0 in conference. They've beaten two decent programs at that. Munoz threw 6 touchdowns. They seem to be improving with every given week. And you go back to that tough loss to McNeese and the tough loss to Lamar. This seems pretty damn close to just being a 1-loss team to Washington in the season opener. So yeah, you look at the remaining of the schedule. I think one of the things that's key here, they don't have Montana State on the schedule. They don't have Eastern Washington on the schedule. Now they do have a couple tough trips that may look tougher now than before. They go to Sac State. We knew that was tougher before, but at Northern Arizona appears to be a little tougher than we thought it was going to be. They also have to go to Moscow, but Weber very alive in the mix. And just a huge win there, 55-48 against Bobby Hawk and those Grizzlies. Hey, I mean, I actually thought Weber was going to regress a little more this year too. With the way they got hit in the portal, I fully expected them to yeah, that game was just a great college football game. It was just a great, go back and watch it, folks. You go, it's for free. You can go back and watch it. That was a great college football game. I had to watch, I didn't catch it live. I caught it this morning. So yeah, shout out to that being available for you. Moving down the ranks, VMI got housed by Samford, 27-3. Didn't bet this. And if anything, I think I kind of leaned Samford. I don't even remember. But VMI's been a train wreck this year. Danny Rocco, I thought they'd be ahead a little bit better this year. Not the case there with the key debts. This game, whew, I did lay the points, but what an ass whooping, 59-0. What an ass whooping by South Dakota as they get it done. Murray is going to have to just adjust to life in the Missouri Valley. Might take a couple years. Pine Bluff beats, Pine Bluff covers, but does not get the win against Alcorn. Alcorn wins 38-28. So shout out to the Golden Lions for get the cover. They play a weekday game this week too. So keep an eye on that. Big win there for Alcorn State as well. SEMO, Eastern Illinois. This one was brutal for me because I bet this and I laid 11.5 and they only won by 11. That hurt. But SEMO looks like they moved to 5-1 with their lone loss being to an FBS in New Mexico State in a game they probably should have won. So SEMO is the team to beat, I think, in the OVC or whatever we're calling it now. But yeah, I tend to think that they are just the team to beat. It's the Big South OVC, whatever the fuck it's called. That hook cost me. And yeah, you look at that race right now, and just to go back to the comment we had earlier in the chat, can Eastern Illinois still win? Yes, they can. They're 0-2, but like, there's enough season there where you still can. You just need SEMO to trip up, and Tennessee Tech to trip up. But the way I saw Tennessee Tech this weekend, the way I think maybe they will trip up. You look at SEMO's remaining schedule. Well, the good news is they play Tennessee Tech this week, so one of the teams in first place will have a loss. But after that, at Charleston Southern, they could get got there, and I would even say at Lindenwood or Tennessee State could catch them as well. So I still think SEMO's probably going to be the team we see in the FCS playoffs, but there's still opportunity to rise up. Folks, I want to tell you that the FCS college football experience is brought to you by BetUS. Yes, bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. US players are always welcome as well. Look, it's not only in the US as well. So this thing is everywhere. Sign up and deposit $100. You have a chance to win a 1960 Ford Mustang. Woo! That is, that's almost better than any other deal I've ever heard of. You use our link to sign up, and you also get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Holy hell. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know that we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform. It helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props, all that good stuff. Build your own model, or you can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard. Press like to me. If it was up to me, I would say press the build me a model after what I like. And Rhythm will do that. All right. And Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a slew of stats, research, trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right. We jump over to, how about this one? Florida A&M taking care of business against Alabama State, 28-13. They're still the team to beat there. Nice win for FAMU there. And then, wow, North Dakota State. I was right on this one here. 41-17 against North Dakota. Revenge was on the mind of the Bison. And I think there might be some value in getting a North Dakota State national championship ticket. Just saying. They look a little tougher to me this year than last year. Dominating performance there. And it was balanced too. Like, I feel like the past couple teams for North Dakota State have been so much run heavy. They struggled in the past. Not this one. They actually passed the ball for 221 yards, ran for 208. Balance. The defense kept the North Dakota passing attack in check, holding them to just 166 in the air. Nice win for North Dakota State. And I think that, like, call me crazy, and I know what's looming for us is then this is the hiccup game too. They have at Carbondale this weekend, with obviously the Dakota Market game the following weekend, but it's in Fargo, and that's why I think I lean North Dakota State to get the best of South Dakota State and Fargo. But hopefully they don't trip. I mean, if you're an NDSU fan, hopefully they don't trip up against Southern Illinois this week. So there is that. The rail rivalry, Chattanooga and East Tennessee State. I also this is one where I did bet this. I took East Tennessee State. They lost. Chattanooga with a huge win there, 17-10 in this game. Was surprised. I shouldn't say I was surprised. It was a rivalry game. I wanted to watch it, so I wanted to have action on it. This is a 3-0 score at halftime. Chattanooga had a 3-0 lead. Shout out to Chattanooga was the better team. They really were. It was not a gimmick. They put together, what was it? I feel like just the fact East Tennessee State could not pass the ball, held them to just 108 passing yards, only 117 yards on the ground. And the fact that Chattanooga could have a little bit more air success was all the difference in the game there for the Mocs. Nice win there. Villanova, Stony Brook. I was all over this one as Nova cashed here for me. You lay the 13.5. They get it done. 42-24. Kind of knew Stony Brook was fool's gold there. But nice win for those Wildcats. Montana State destroyed Northern Colorado. I did take the points here, but whatever. I mean, I didn't bet this game. Montana State looks really good. Obviously, they have a huge game this weekend against the Vandals. And that is probably the game of the week, if you ask me. Nice win there for them Bobcats. UC Davis, Portland State. Woo! I mean, living on the edge. UC Davis wins 27-26. Didn't bet this game. But what a game there in Hillsboro as they score 13 in the fourth to avoid the upset. Shout out to Tim Plow and these Aggies getting that dub. Central, North Carolina Central, Campbell. I did not see this one coming. I mean, I thought Central could win the game, but I did not see an ass whooping 45-14. Dominating performance there by North Carolina Central. Very impressive stuff. And shout out to Ron Lowney in the chat. He says Montana State's got to destroy Idaho. Let's go. 41-13, he says, is what's going to happen. So get on over there. Someone offers an exact score. That's what you got to do. You got to follow Ron. Shout out to James S in the chat. This game was surprising to me. Western Illinois goes down there to Charleston, South Carolina, and beats the Buccaneers by 11. Nice win for the Leathernecks. They needed that one, and yeah, big time win. Presbyterian at San Diego in overtime, and I thought San Diego was the right side of the play here. San Diego just cruise it in here, but they get the win in overtime. Shout out to the Toreros for getting that, but might have been more than you bargained for almost there. Central Arkansas and Abilene Christian. This game was it did not disappoint. Abilene Christian wins 41-34. And this is one to me, 350 yards in the air for Maverick MacGyver. And that was probably honestly the difference in the game, because you look at it and Central Arkansas actually put up way more yards, but they threw a pick and they also fumbled the ball. And that is why Abilene walks away a winner in my mind. Great game though. And hopefully we see both these teams in the FCS playoffs. They're both really good teams. South Dakota State went to Northern Iowa, and boy, they did not disappoint. 41-3. I mean, Northern Iowa, what has happened to this once program? We know it's probably related to playing football in that filthy dome. You should be outdoors, but South Dakota State just beating the piss. There was 27-3 at halftime, folks, and just getting whatever they wanted against Northern Iowa. Shout out to the Jackrabbits once again, which, like I said, you got the Dakota Marker game. What, just a week? Essentially in 2 weeks. They host Youngstown this week, so I don't worry about them as much as I do NDSU on the road there in Carbondale. Yeah, Northern Iowa is just what the fuck happened there. This game was fantastic. Northern Arizona did cover the number against the Idaho Vandals, and really, Northern Arizona is starting to become a team that I'm starting to buy some stock in. Not that there'll be a playoff team this year, but I just feel like they're more chippy, and this has been a very interesting first season there. At Northern Arizona. Remember, what am I drawing a blank of? Who was their previous coach? Anyway, they I'm drawing a blank on the previous coach there. Where am I at here? Let's see. Chris Ball. Remember, so they had fired Chris Ball, and I know some people I felt like thought they should have gave him another year. Brian Wright comes in from the good old likes of Pittsburgh State, where he had done a wonderful job. And he has looked the part despite losing by just 6 points there at that filthy Kibby Dome. So shout out to NAU for getting that cover. Alabama A&M, Jackson State did not disappoint. And if you got this at the number I offered, you lost, because Jackson State 45, Alabama A&M 38. Now this is one that I leaned. I threw some bucks on Jackson State. So nice win there, but bad cover. Utah Tech, North Alabama dropped 60 on Utah Tech. Woo! What is happening? Utah Tech moves to 0-6. I don't know how you justify that one. They had just 10 yards rushing, Utah Tech did. Big time problems. Shout out to North Alabama for that dub. Ron's in the chat saying JSU has a very tough game this week. Obviously, they are hosting Florida A&M. That game is fantastic. Definitely going to have that on the TV moving forward. On Saturday. This game did not disappoint either, and this is one we listened to. The smelly line. Towson gets it done 34-27 against the Tribe of William and Mary. And the line didn't make sense to us. This is one we trusted. Towson, we thought it had been, looked the part, and nice win there for the Tigers. Incarnate Word Did they cover this? I didn't bet this game, but I believe they They did not cover this as they won 56-28. Shout out to iDub for getting that one. Ron warned me. No, but we went back on it. Remember last week I went back on it. I was gonna take William and Mary, and then I just thought it was stinky. We ended up betting this thing. Illinois State, Southern Illinois. This game I did not see this ass whooping coming. This one, 45-10. The Salukis at home in Carbondale get destroyed by the Redbirds. Very, very impressive outing for the Redbirds of Illinois State. Nichols and Southern. Nichols won 51-7. Colin Guggenheim and company just going off for the Colonels. Even on the road there in Baton Rouge. I mean, this team had 224 yards on the ground. Just getting after it. Shout out to the Colonels that continue to look good this year, by the way. Perhaps to me, the shocker of the day, I think a lot of people would say it would be Weber State, but I was on Weber State, so I was not as shocked as this one. This was the shocker of the day to McNeese State. The Cowboys, who I bet on, go into Houston, and Houston Christian maybe with the biggest win in their existence, with a 43-22 dominating win against McNeese State. What a win for Houston Christians, or Houston Christian, Houston Baptist, whatever the hell you want to say, with the CVS attached to them. That's a huge win. That is a gigantic win. That's just one that's great for the program. You can continue to build in the right direction there. Did not see that one coming. I ate shit there. Texas A&M Commerce did not get it done against Sela. Sela 21, Commerce 9. Depends on what you got that number at, because I do think you got a couple more points if you bet this late. Shout out to Sela getting that dub. Idaho State, Cal Poly in a barn burner. I did take Idaho State, and they did not cover against Cal Poly. But they did get that win, and that's what matters. And then maybe the game of the weekend as well. Tarleton State, Southern Utah. A very questionable call in this game. If you didn't catch this game, very questionable call, but Tarleton State gets the dub in overtime, 48-47 against them Thunderbirds. And hey, Tarleton, if they get that call from the Mountain West, you say we're 5-1. Imagine what we can do with getting to the Mountain West. Big time win there. My friend Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour, was at this game here. Northwestern State was getting 35.5. I didn't bet this, but I took this with 35.5 on the sheet. They did not cover as they lost 57-19. Stephen F. Austin. Northwestern State's defense is just so bad. And that's our slate for us, folks. That's every single game I just gave you right there. If you ask me what were the biggest wins, if I were to do 5 game balls, I think the one that stands out right away is Weber State game ball. I think Houston Christian game ball. I think Tarleton State game ball. That's 3. Let's say for 4. I mean, they had some teams that had tough losses, but those are the 3 right there. At 4, I will say, give me Harvard with the game ball. They were down early. They battled all the way back, and give me that as a 4th game ball. For the 5th game ball, maybe I'm biased a little bit, but Western Carolina. No, it's North Dakota State or Western Carolina, I feel like. But Western Carolina, you had no fans there. I just want to give them a game ball because of what's happening in that area. But how about Chattanooga winning the rail rivalry? 17-10, big time win against ETSU. I know I just gave you 8 game balls. This is the college football experience. We don't, we've been known to give you extra picks. All right. So yeah, let's go. Looking forward at this week before I get out of here. First, you have 2 Friday games, Harvard and Cornell, and Prairie View and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Love the fact we get 2 games on. They should give us more weekday games every single week. And then when you look at some of the other matchups, obviously I hit on the Idaho Montana State game there in Bozeman. That game is huge. I can't wait to watch it. I also can't wait to watch Eastern Washington head to Sacramento to take on Sac State. That's another one that it really has caught my eye. Northern Arizona, Montana has caught my eye. I know I'm just naming sky games right now, but how about North Dakota State, Southern Illinois? Will they trip up against the Salukis perhaps in a look ahead spot? Western Carolina's hosting the Citadel. The style clashes there. That one might be my favorite game of all week. It's because you got the Kerwin Bell system, the old Spurrier stuff, throwing the ball all over the field against the old triple option of Jonathan Bennett and company. Butler Drake, I alluded to this big time matchup. Excited to watch, all those Pioneer League games. And then, I would say maybe fucking Dartmouth and Yale. Some of those Ivy games I love watching. Pretty intriguing as well. But yeah, it's going to be another good week of FCS football action. We got you covered. Friday, our pick show will be out. So please, if you can, folks, subscribe to the College Football Experience, the FCS College Football Experience. That is youtube.com/the College Experience. So, shout out to Ron in the chat saying the lines won't be so crazy this week. It all matters the time. It all matters the time I get. Sometimes if I get the numbers, I can't, if I can't get you out right away, and I'm building the slides, they're going to jump. They normally just jump in general crazy, but hopefully we don't have that. I'm on Twitter at @TheColbyD. The FCS College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Please check us out. And if you can give us a 5-star review on iTunes, we certainly appreciate it. Cannot wait for the rest of the season and all these games to play out. There's nothing like FCS College Football Experience. Go out to a game. I would challenge the audience. Get yourself out to an FCS game at some point this season and support FCS College Football, folks. Till next time, this is the FCS College Football Experience. We'll be back later tonight for the FBS, the College Football Experience show, talking all the weekday action, including both FCS games. So check that out. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking at the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know what you're getting, cause the books we written with the cameras. Everybody's trying to stop this team, but we keep on knocking them dead. They make opposing coaches